Welcome to our weekly discussion of all things current in California politics. I'm Walt Gray, joined again by reporter Emily Hoeven, political columnist with the San Francisco Chronicle. Emily, you had a piece in this week about the insurance crisis in our state. Many people are having trouble getting homeowners insurance, especially in the high country. Ricardo Lara, the insurance commissioner, has drawn your wrath. You've alluded to him being a political opportunist and other adjectives. What I'll have you explain here.
Yeah, so, my issue with Ricardo Lara is that, his job is to regulate the insurance industry in California, and we have a crisis that is of, just historic magnitude and is getting worse by the day and is threatening to potentially bankrupt the FAIR plan, which more and more people are getting pushed onto because they aren't able to get insurance through private companies, so they're paying more for less coverage. This is a crisis that has been brewing for years, and it seems like the commissioner really has not taken a whole lot of action to address it. He only issued this executive order that outlines plans that he is going to take, but probably won't actually go into effect fully until 2026, after the state legislature failed to take action, after the governor directed him to. And I know that he was working behind the scenes, but I still think that his only job is to be the public face of the consumer in California and work with the insurance industry.
I know you're saying he's got one job to do. One thing is to help the consumers. The governor has been signing bills, still got so many bills, and you're excited about some of the housing bills you felt were necessary.
Yeah, so he signed a lot of bills that, housing advocates and also the Chronicle editorial board has come out in support of. One of them would basically make it a lot easier for churches and also, colleges to build 100% affordable housing on their property. That's a bill that has stalled in the past. There's also a bill that essentially makes permanent an existing law that was going to expire that expedites the process of approval for certain housing projects in cities that are not building the amount of houses that they're required to by state law. And so, and there's also a bill that essentially limits the sort of years-long fights that we see over CEQA environmental reviews, and essentially just says, if a project meets these environmental requirements, we can't just keep appealing it and fighting over it. We have to approve it and we have to build this housing. And so we're definitely hopeful that over the next couple of years, this will start to make an even bigger dent in the housing crisis.
Also staying at the state capitol, Senator Eggman pushing a reform conservatorship law in California. There's a little pushback to that, but ultimately, what's the intention? What do you see as the upside here?
Yeah, so the governor signed this bill into law, and this is really the first major reform to California's conservatorship laws in decades, really since the law was formed in the 60s. And essentially, it just widens the pool of people who are eligible to be placed into a conservatorship and compelled into involuntary behavioral health treatment, either because they can't take care of themselves, they're not able to provide for their personal health and safety, or they have very severe, alcohol use or substance use disorders, in addition to mental health conditions, but they don't have to be tied together. I think that this bill acknowledges that there are many people on the streets who are clearly suffering and are not able to get the help that they need. Sometimes they're not even aware of the condition that they're in. I think the problem is going to be in the implementation because as it stands, California does not have enough behavioral health facilities or housing or behavioral health workforce to care for the people who are currently in this population. And so even if you're compelling care, you have to have somewhere to put that person and you have to have people to take care of them. And right now the state doesn't. So the devil's going to be in the details.
Yeah, indeed it is. Senator Eggman, we'll see what happens with that. Emily, thank you for joining us. Of course, as always, we'll see you next week. If you'd like to reach out to Emily, you can do so at emily.hoeven@sfchronicle.com.